Greetings, everybody. I just wanted to go over this real quick because a lot of people seem to have questions about the differences between a research question and a hypothesis. So a research question is the question that we're seeking to find an answer to. It's the overarching question in our research that we're hoping to answer. And when we have been very distinctly clear on what our research question is, from that we can develop some hypotheses. And hypotheses are the possible outcomes or answers that might happen as we seek to answer our research question. So if we create a research question such as, does gender influence cooking skills? We can use this as an example to determine what hypotheses would be developed from this. First and foremost, we develop our null hypothesis. The null hypothesis, if you recall, is the hypothesis that talks about or discusses that there is no relationship, no difference, no influence, no impact from one variable on, towards, or about another, or between the two variables. So for this question, does gender influence cooking skills? The null hypothesis would be gender does not influence cooking skills. And we're going to write it symbolically. We have the H naught right here. This is the mean of X for males and the mean of X for females. So the score, the average score for males is equal to the average score for females. So there is no difference between the two. Our research hypotheses or alternative hypotheses are alternative to the null. So if the research question is, does gender influence cooking skills? The null hypothesis is gender does not influence cooking skills. One alternative hypothesis could be that gender does influence cooking skills. Another alternative, and keep in mind when you're doing research, you would only pick one alternative. You're going to hypothesize in your research what you think the outcome will be. But another option for an alternative hypothesis might be more specific than just a general, yes, gender does influence cooking skills. It might be something along the lines that males are better chefs than females. And of course, a different alternative hypothesis might be that females are better chefs than males. So if we sort of look at the three alternative hypotheses, we can see that one is non-directional, and the non-directional hypothesis was the one that said that gender does influence cooking skills. And we would write this symbolically as HA or H1, depends upon how you choose to write it. And we have the X bar, again, which is the average for X for males and the average for X for females. And they are not equal to each other. So we're showing that there is a difference between the two, which would therefore mean that gender did have an impact on cooking skills. And if we wanted to discuss a directional hypothesis, these would be the second or third hypotheses, alternative hypotheses that we discussed. One showed that the males were better chefs than females, which we're writing as a symbol to show that they have a greater average cooking score than males have a higher average cooking score than females. Or we could show the X bar of females is higher than the X bar of males, which would show the higher average female score was higher than the average score for males, with this bar meaning average and the X being the score. So this is just to give you a little bit of understanding about a research question and the possible hypotheses. And whenever we're doing research, you want to keep in mind that you would do a research question and you would have your first and foremost your null hypothesis, which is what we're testing against when we're running inferential statistics. And then secondly, you would want to present your research hypothesis or alternative hypothesis that you think would be the most likely. And this does not have to be correct. And that is the way that we go about doing it. Then we would run our research and determine whether or not we agree with our null, whether we would reject it or fail to reject it. And we can comment on how we feel we aligned with the hypothesis that we predicted. I hope this helps. Have a great day. Bye-bye.